Good morning. Today is Sunday, April 24th, and I am in Tempe, Arizona, visiting one of my dear friends. I wanted to talk to all of you about what it is that I do, because some people have asked and they're a little bit confused. So I started a consulting business, and one of my main priorities is to help families who do not have access to Montessori, or let's say that they have their children in a Montessori school, but they're interested in doing more at home. So I offer one-on-one consultations in your home to help set up the environment to create a setting that fosters your child's independence. And it's similar to what you might see as far as practical life in a primary classroom or elementary, because I have both primary and elementary experience. So I believe practical life in elementary is more along the lines of going out. So you would nurture an environment that makes it easy for the child to have access to resources that they would need in order to organize a going out, and lots of grace and courtesy. Grace and courtesy, grace and courtesy. I can't emphasize enough grace and courtesy, because it's lacking so much in our society, and I see it all the time and it breaks my heart. So, and as a mother of a son who has autism, grace and courtesy is just really challenging for him. So I'm always like observing him and kind of a little bit disheartened, because I know that it has to do with his learning disability, and it's not necessarily a choice. Whereas for some children, it's not necessarily a choice, but they're not exposed to a lot of grace and courtesy growing up, so they don't, they may have the wherewithal to practice it in their daily lives. However, they don't see it around them as much. So my son sees it all the time with me, but doesn't feel comfortable making eye contact with people. And those of you who have children who have autism understand what I mean. It's a complicated, autism is a complicated and fascinating, what would you call it? Like, I want to say like monster. A fascinated and complicated little monster that I'm learning more and more about every day. So anyhow, I hope that you all enjoy a beautiful Sunday, nice and relaxing, and take some time to be mindful of this incredibly gorgeous weather that we have here in spring. I hope that helps you a little bit to understand what it is that my goal is. And I'm creating these videos with that in mind. So if you have a 3 to 6 or 6 to 12-year-old and you're interested in learning more about how to implement Montessori in your home, please feel free to reach out to me, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions you might have and show you what resources that my mother and I have available, because I work with my mom, and let me tell you, she is a wealth of amazing information. She's opened something like 13 schools since 1965. And she has managed a classroom for, I think it was close to 40 years by the time she opened the charter schools. And then she managed 5 different campuses. And so she has a lot of experience. And she not only has a lot of experience when it comes to teaching children for the 3 to 6 age group, she also has she has the first portion of the elementary training that Margaret Stevenson did in the 1960s, I believe it is. She was one of the first courses. She participated in one of the first courses that took place here in the United States, in Cleveland, Ohio. So she's it's almost like it comes naturally to her. It's beautiful. Like when you ask her a question, she just knows the answer. She's followed the child for so many years that she has this amazing instinctual awareness when it comes to helping them in whatever, struggles you might be having. And then she also has the experience of having set up the Montessori charter schools and opened, helping her friends, and on her own opened, 13 private schools. She has experience having trained teachers in Montessori, and so her background obviously is much more diverse than mine. However, I have led my own primary classroom, and I just finished the 6 to 12 training with someone who is no longer training. I don't know if he's going to return to it or not, but his name is Greg McDonald, and he was my trainer in San Diego, and it was it was a phenomenal experience to have been trained by him, and I'm sad that he's no longer training, and I'm sorry, I'm tearing up. I wish that we had the graduation and things like that, but because of COVID, everything kind of changed, because our training was 2018 to 2020. I say I just finished it. It's been, it's been a minute since I finished it, but anyhow, it was such a great experience. It was so wonderful, and he has that presence that my mom does, where you ask him a question and he just knows it. He just knows children so well. So anyhow, I invite you to please ask me some questions, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. And I'm curious if anybody has any experience with like Facebook Live or TikTok, one of the social platforms. Maybe you guys can help me with this. I believe I can go live at a particular time and let you guys know, and then you can attend if you want to, and it'll show that I'm online, and then you can ask questions in that format. So I thought that might be one interesting way that I can help you all with your children, and I invite you to please share this video. I don't have any sort of platform set up for payment at this time. I do charge for the in-home consultations, and then I worked with a preschool. The director was adverse to using Montessori, but the owner wanted more Montessori, but there was a lack of communication between the two of them. So I just helped as much as I could under that, umbrella. And so I'm open to doing school consultations if you feel like you're struggling with something going on in primary. If I were invited to a school consultation that involved elementary, I may bring one of my friends with me who has experience in elementary, because I do have the training. However, I don't have teaching experience in the classroom, and you need that. You really need that to be able to understand where the child is, where they're at, and whatnot. I do have a lot of theory and knowledge from my albums and whatnot, but it's not until you put that theory into actual practice that you are like, oh yeah, this is how it really works. And then you have this beautiful classroom, and you're the scientist, and you have your little guinea pigs, and you give your lessons, and you get to see how they react and respond. And so that's the experience that I have in primary, and that's the experience that my mom has. So but I do have a couple of friends who are elementary trained and are happy to come along on consultations, and I offer the in-home consultations for families who are interested in creating a beautiful environment that's conducive to their child's learning within the home, in addition to whatever method, whatever method of education you have them enrolled in, because a lot of families live in areas where they don't have access to a Montessori school. So it's kind of sad. But anyhow, feel free to ask me questions, and thank you all so much for watching this video. Once again, I hope you have a relaxing Sunday, and you take a minute to be mindful of how beautiful it is outside today. It's so gorgeous out here, and yeah. Thank you again.